Every year, Jehovah's Witnesses release their worldwide statistics. They call it the Service Report. In this report, we can see how many witnesses there are in each country around the world, whether the numbers increased, decreased, and so on. Since these reports are reviewed in Jehovah's Witness congregations with a positive and triumphalist focus, in this video we will make an effort to be objective in our review. Spoiler: bad news for Jehovah's Witnesses. We will review the numbers on a global level, but we will also look at data by regions and by individual countries around the world. All of this will give us a clear picture of the current state of Jehovah's Witnesses' work. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. So let's get started. But first, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Are the numbers that Jehovah's Witnesses present in these reports credible? Many former witnesses and non-witnesses doubt that these numbers are real, and they have reasons for doing so. One reason many people doubt the accuracy of the Watchtower statistics is that these numbers are presented by the Watchtower itself, without any external audit. In addition, as I mentioned earlier, the organization usually handles this report in a triumphalist way. They seek to encourage their followers to keep pushing themselves to the maximum in preaching. That, in itself, would be an incentive to dress up the numbers. But there is another incentive for these statistics not to be entirely accurate. I'm referring to the fact that what is reported is the number of publishers. Each month, every Jehovah's Witness reports whether they preached or did not preach. The point is that if someone reports that they did not preach, they are usually seen as spiritually weak. This creates an incentive for witnesses to report that they preached when, in reality, they did not. How widespread is the practice of reporting preaching activity that never actually happened? There is no way to know. We can only assume that, for this reason, the Watchtower statistics may be, at least, a little inflated. But perhaps what causes the greatest suspicion for many people is that the organization of Jehovah's Witnesses claims to have a little over 9 million publishers worldwide. To them, this sounds like an astronomical figure. Well then, let me give you my point of view. 9 million members worldwide is very, very, very few members. Considering that there are 8.235 billion people on this planet, 9 million represents barely 0.1% of the world's population. It does not strike me as a disproportionate number. On the other hand, the Watchtower, like any company, because that is what they are, a company, needs reliable statistics in order to plan budgets and make projections. And, as we will see in a moment, there are certain regional trends in their figures that suggest a degree of internal consistency. So my personal conclusion is this: the Jehovah's Witnesses Service Report can help us see what is actually happening with this religion, as long as we read it with a critical eye and not with the triumphalist air that Jehovah's Witnesses have, seeing themselves as a religious giant when they really are not. Without a doubt, the most important figure in the report is the percentage increase in publishers. Here, the Watchtower reports a 2.5% increase compared to the previous year. And the question you may be asking yourself is whether 2.5% growth is little or a lot. Well, it depends. For Jehovah's Witnesses, whatever the figure is, they will tell you it is a great victory for them. Why? Because if you think it is good growth, they will tell you that the increase of true worshipers is a fulfillment of the biblical prophecy in Isaiah chapter 2, verses 2 and 3, which says that in the last days, people of all nations would stream to Jehovah's mountain. But if you think it is very low growth, they will tell you it is because they have fully carried out Jesus' command to preach in all nations, and that, therefore, the end is very, very, very close. Do you see the circular reasoning? For now, let's look at the figure more objectively. In the 5-year period from 1985 to 1990, the average annual growth of Jehovah's Witnesses was 35%. Yes, far, far above this meager 2.5% they announced for this year. But what really matters is the trend. After that exceptional 5-year period, the next 5-year average was 30%, then 20%, then 12%, then 10%. Are you following me? They grow less and less each time. From this perspective, does the 2.5% growth of the last year seem like a great achievement to you? Or is it, on the contrary, confirmation of a decades-long trend in which growth keeps slowing down? Let's be honest. For a religion that represents only 0.1% of humanity, 2.5% growth is actually quite ridiculous. But stay until the end, because the best part is yet to come. the analysis by regions and countries. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. You can also join the channel's members, where, besides watching my videos without ads, you'll get access to special content, like this latest video I just uploaded about the tragic abuse of minors among Jehovah's Witnesses. Click the link I've left in the description. Now let's continue. Let's look at what is happening in the countries that once represented the greatest growth for the organization of Jehovah's Witnesses. United States 1%, Brazil 2% growth, Mexico 1%. It's clear that the three countries that years ago contributed the most growth to the organization are now below the global average of 2.5%. In the past, Latin America provided significant growth for Jehovah's Witnesses. Let's look at some examples from the latest report. We've already seen Brazil and Mexico. Argentina 1%, Venezuela 2%, Colombia 2%, Chile 1%, El Salvador 0%. Wow. Costa Rica 1%. In short, if the global average is 2.5%, Latin America is no longer the region driving growth for the Watchtower, and of course, it's not Canada, Australia, or Europe either that are helping the Watchtower grow. Canada 2%, Australia 0%, Spain 2%, France 1%, Italy 0%, Germany 0%, Great Britain 0%. I remember that, back when I was a witness, Japan was held up as an example because of the large number of pioneers there. Let's see Japan. 0%. Oops, imagine if they didn't have pioneers. Since we're in that part of the world, let's look at South Korea. 0%. Unbelievable. Are you starting to imagine who is actually providing growth to Jehovah's Witnesses? Zimbabwe 7%, Zambia 11%, Yap 10%, Tuvalu 12%, South Sudan 14%, Rwanda 8%, Namibia 6%, Malawi 9%, Kenya 7%, and so on. Indeed, the little growth the Watchtower currently has worldwide is owed to Africa. As we mentioned, when a company reviews its numbers, it does so in order to budget and plan, but also to identify opportunities and determine where it is most productive to invest resources. Viewed from this perspective, this would be a great opportunity for the Watchtower to strengthen its growth in Africa. Being a continent with enormous needs in terms of food, healthcare, education, and so on, Africa would seem to present the Watchtower with a major opportunity to show Christian love for one's neighbor by founding hospitals, schools, community kitchens, and the like. Well, in case you haven't noticed, I'm being sarcastic. The Watchtower understands Matthew chapter 25, verse 35. You know, the part about, I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was sick, and you took care of me. And so on, in a symbolic way. So no, they are not going to build community kitchens, hospitals, or schools. At most, if there is a hurricane or a flood, they might organize nearby congregations to send aid. But nothing that involves long-term assistance. What they will do is send a lot, really a lot, really a lot, of spiritual help. You know, books, magazines, kingdom halls, assembly halls, expansion of branch offices, and so on. I don't want to end the video without telling you the following. Not long ago, a Jehovah's Witness commented in the comments section, or rather, I should clarify, he said he was not a Jehovah's Witness. Although we all know it's a common habit for witnesses to write things in the comments like, I'm not a Jehovah's Witness, but I can see that Jehovah's Witnesses are the greatest thing in the whole wide world, to infinity and beyond. Anyway, one of these people told me that it seemed to him that I was like an ant fighting an elephant. This person, with his smug, self-satisfied comment, was wrong in 3 ways. Yes, in such a short sentence, he was wrong 3 times. First, because Jehovah's Witnesses are not like an elephant. We've already seen that they make up only 0.1% of the world's population. Second, because in this fight, I'm not alone. If anything, we would be more like an anthill. Or what do you think if we use a witness-style simile? We're like a swarm of locusts. Yes, there are many of us who, on social media and through other means, are exposing the falsehood of the Watchtower, and his third mistake is that we are succeeding. By the way, in the Jehovah's Witnesses Service report, there is no line showing statistics for China. Do you know where else China doesn't appear? In the way Jehovah's Witnesses interpret biblical prophecy. Click Click the video in the top right to learn about this other inconsistency of Jehovah's Witnesses.